let's talk about how we're going to find people. Because what Melissa was saying when we talked last week, she's like, part of the problem is when people are ready to make this offer, they feel like, well, where are my people? I don't know where my people are. Like my friends and family aren't my people. And I'm like, I get that. Because when I started selling music, let's put it this way, I've never sold a song for 50 grand or 75 grand to a friend or a family member. My family members don't work in advertising. They don't work as music supervisors for film and TV shows. They're not hanging out with Randy Newman all day long. That's not what they do. So did I go to them? No. I went and found my buyers. So what did that look like? Well, I'm going to start to give you a few examples, and then we're going to start to extract where your people are. And we're going to give you some ideas of how to find those people. Okay. So let me give you 2 examples. So when it came to finding my investor, right? I thought, okay, so this person who's buying music works in film and TV. So I started looking through IMDb, who's the music supervisor for this. So why is that interesting? Because there are some of you who have products that you can sell wholesale. So you can look to see who literally is sitting right now on LinkedIn who would buy my product, right? Emily McDowell, one of my good friends, started selling her greeting cards. Her first sale was Urban Outfitters, $30,000, $30,000 sale of greeting cards. She was like, I don't even know how to make the card. She was at a booth with a friend and she like put her card out there and they were like, great, we'll take an order of $30,000 worth. And she's like, great, awesome. Shoot, how do I even make this card? She reverse engineered it. It was like the funniest story, but that is a person. Okay. So you might want to start thinking like, who are the buyers? Who are people, right? Brian Januski, we talked about the drippy pots. He also had a big sale with Urban Outfitters, but he's before that started with local boutiques. So he was reaching out to local boutiques, those local boutiques. Twirly Girl Dresses. She turned her business into a 7-figure business within 2 years. How did she do that? She was hand making dresses and started calling boutiques. Instead of selling a dress to a person, a mom who has a daughter, she started selling dresses to boutiques. So she called one boutique in the Century City Mall, which is a big mall in west side of LA where there's people who have a decent amount of money. She sold the dresses for $100 a piece. She would sell them to the woman who owned the boutique, right? So that is one to many. My friend Jenny, with her corned beef, she called 10 delis. But then it got really exciting because she and I started saying, well, if you can sell your corned beef to 10 delis, where are there other mouths to feed? Dodger Stadium, the airport, the commissaries of all the studios, CBS, NBC, Radford. So she started calling and figuring out who the person was who worked in the kitchen of the commissaries of Disney Studios, CBS Studios, NBC Studios, Netflix. She came down. Can I give you a sample? Oh my gosh, this is so great. Great. You can start selling this vegan meat and you can look cool to your people because I'm actually giving you value, which is now you look more inclusive to your employees who eat vegan food. Great. We love it. Thank you so much. So she started selling everywhere, including Dodger Stadium and all of that, which is what she had done before she went on to Shark Tank. She just started making phone calls. So in her PJs, with her like little girl on her hip, she was just making phone calls. Where are there mouths to feed? Who can I offer this product to as a sample? So we can do it this way. What else can we do? Well, you can also, if you have a person who might be on Facebook, right? They might be in Facebook groups, you can start offering value to those people. So I sold music, which is something that I actually made. I wrote songs and sold them to Fox, NBC, Disney, Lionsgate, all that. But another thing I did is I started teaching songwriters how to get into the business of songwriting. And so I started thinking, where do songwriters hang out? So I would get into Facebook groups where there were songwriters. There's songwriter groups in New York City and in all the different cities had them, but there was also different kinds of songwriters who were singer-songwriters and songwriters who had taken different workshops that I had been in. So I started getting in there. You know what I did? I would just offer value for free in those groups. So people would be posting like a question and I would take that as an opportunity to be like, did you ever think of doing this, this, and this? And then I got known in that group as, and then I would say, you can DM me, we can talk more about it. And then when they would DM me, that's when I would say, I'm actually doing a free workshop. You should come to that. I'm not saying drop your scheduler in the groups, but Rick Mulready talked about this last week. Like you can be using Facebook groups to do that. What else can you be doing? Are there people who are in your view, whether they're friends of yours, family members of yours, or if they're not, are there people who you see on Instagram or Facebook who you could offer something to? Like you could reach out to someone and be like, hey, you know, I have an idea for a logo for you, and I made an example of it, and you can use it if you want to, because you do logo design. So you start getting generous and you see what happens. Every time you're generous, you just got yourself an audition. You just gave yourself, you know, a prospective client by giving something away to somebody. So one of the other things that I did is I was looking for songwriting students. I started thinking like, where do songwriters hang out? And I thought to myself, well, where do songwriters hang out? A lot of songwriters in LA, we used to play at places like Hotel Cafe and Room 5. So I remember calling the booker of those two venues and saying, you don't use your space during the day. Nobody shows up in LA at 12 o'clock on a Sunday to watch a show. Your space is dark. Can I use it to do a workshop? And can you send out an email to all the songwriters in your database and ask them to come? And he's like, yeah, cool, let's do that. So I said, I'll pay you for the room. I'll pay you $50 for the hour. Fine. So I pay for the room. All these people come. And then I say to him, I'm going to sell them at the end of it on a paid workshop. And if they come, I'll give you a piece. So he's like, great. So we started doing those on Sundays. That's how I met actually two of the people that work for me on the songwriting program now. They came to that workshop. They wound up getting tons of success. They wound up eventually working with me on part-time because they now do music full-time. It's pretty cool. But that was one of the thoughts of where can I find these people? So you need to have what we just talked about before. You need to have your energetic shift. You need to hold there. You need to practice it, come back to it over and over again, show up for it, claim it. And then you need a place to go claim it. You need to have a conversation with people every single day. And there's so much you can do in your business that will not move your business forward, but this will. If you ask people what actually moves your business forward, it's people, it's business development, it's having these conversations. And people will be like, I'll just spend 14 hours a week working on my website. You can do that. It won't move your business forward. Don't do that. Instead, work with the people who are actually going to be potential clients for you and serve them and talk to them. So